Good morning, I'm Reg Vaughan of Royal Airlines, and this morning we're going from Toronto to Las Vegas on our Lockheed 1011 aircraft, flight 740. We'll be traveling with First Officer Steve Franzak and Graham Whale. The Las Vegas weather, beautiful day, sky clear, and 26 degrees Celsius. And the flying time about 4 hours and 25 minutes. So come along and join us in the cockpit.
Roy 740 Heavy, good morning. Behind the dash 7, right to left, back at discretion call for the counterclockwise taxi. Should see him in about 1 minute.
Dash 7, right to left, counterclockwise taxi, Roy 740, check.
Air Canada 652.
Check.
Check the filter pressure light is extinguished.
Yes, sir. Probably get number 1 on in a bit.
Roger.
One is stable, ready for 3.
Starting.
Valve open.
And 3.
28 pounds. And 2.
And 1. Positive rotation.
%.
Fuel on.
Apron control, Roy 740, taxi.
Roy 740, runway 33, hold a beam gate 54.
A beam 54 for 33, Roy 740.
Air Canada 502, once the Canadian 37 makes the turn on the apron, hold short of Alpha Mike and ground 21-9, so on. 21-9 short of Alpha Mike behind the Canadian 37, Air Canada 502, okay.
Clear left.
Clear on the right.
Roy 740, ground 21-9 now, so on.
Good day, 740. Ground, good morning, it's Roy 740 approaching Alpha Mike.
And 416, continue Bravo now, hold short Alpha Lima. 416, Bravo, hold short of Alpha Lima. Royal 740, good morning, runway 33, altimeter 3055, pass behind United, then taxi Alpha Mike Victor.
After United, Alpha Mike Victor 3055, Roy 740.
Check that.
740, Tower 187 on Victor, good day.
Taxi check, anti-skid.
On anti-skid light set.
Auto flight.
Heading select, altitude arm takeoff.
Heading select, altitude arm, takeoff.
Flight controls.
Checked.
And checked. Takeoff data.
Ground Air Canada 8224, going to 101.
Flaps and slats.
Can require
taxi to Delta Romeo, sure, the RAM 22079.
And 14 green, trims.
At a 416, contact ground now 2165.
Rudder and aileron.
Okay, 2165.
4.0 units, rudder and aileron 0.
Unsafe takeoff warning. Is checked. Taxi check complete.
Clear right, United traffic.
Right.
Stand by.
And we are going to 74 Alpha. Wait, 740, Tower 1187, please.
See you, good day. Tower Roy 740 is with you, holding short of 33.
Right, 740, Roger, taxi to position, runway 33. And some information for you, there's a film crew, I guess, will be filming your departure there at the runway edge at Bravo 4, well off the runway.
Bravo 4, we check, we're taxiing to position, Roy 740.
Position and hold, clear left, before takeoff.
Clear on the right.
Before takeoff, cabin is secure, PA is complete, continuous ignitions
Good
on
morning,
both.
Can Air
Temp probes
61
are
with
on.
you,
Enunciators.
6 left inside the Tango. Can Air
Transponder
61,
and
Roger,
radar.
cleared to land runway 06 left,
Packs
hold
are
short
off.
runway
Brake temps are
33 for
normal.
departing traffic,
Landing lights
wind
and strobes.
calm. Shorter
Before
33,
takeoff,
cleared to
check
land 6
complete.
left, Can Air 62. Roy 740, contact departure 128.8 airborne, clear takeoff runway 33.
Clear takeoff 33, airborne 1288, Roy 740.
Canada 337 on Delta 3, contact ground
And we're
121.
stable.
Yes, 337, all go.
Reduce thrust coming up.
Canada 621, what is your destination?
North end for Canada 621.
Canada 621, roger, left turn Juliet 1, contact ground 12165.
Juliet 1065, Canada 61, so on.
Thrust
80
set.
knots.
Check.
V1. Rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up.
Original 1993 is ready for takeoff 33. Original 1993, taxi to position runway 33.
Yes.
Position 33, Regional 1993. Toronto Tower, Challenger 998, Juliet Romeo on high left 6 left.
Horsepower is alive. Flash 4.
988, Juliet Romeo, cleared to land runway 06 left, wind 090 at 5 knots. Cleared to land 6 left, Juliet Romeo.
Yep. Climb thrust.
Climb thrust.
Toronto departure, good morning, it's Roy 740 Heavy with you off 33 through 2200.
Climb thrust is set.
Check.
Departure, Roy 740 Heavy out of 3000 off of 33.
Roy 740, you're identified, climb to 7,000.
7000, Roy 740.
Well, 740, turn left. you can go direct to Arthur, climb flight level 230.
Left direct Arthur, climbing 230, Roy 740.
Transport 855, climb to flight level 230. Flight level 230 on the 360 heading, transport 855.
I'll give you that here if you'd like.
Yes, sir, please.
Flaps.
And transport 855, direct Toronto, Victor 98 on course. Direct Toronto, Victor 98 on course, transport 855.
Flaps up.
Check.
Toronto Center, it's Roy 740 Heavy out of 10,600 for 230, direct Arthur.
740 Heavy, roger, proceed direct Bryce Canyon on course.
Direct to Bryce Canyon on course, Roy 740 Heavy, thank you.
Number 5. Check. Holy. Oh, there is no ship. Go ahead. It's fine, Rich.
2,500 feet or greater to flight level 210, flight craft 272.
Check.
Transition brake, 2990.
Graham, can I get the times, please?
Yeah, certainly, sir. What I'm doing here, this is the aircraft technical log, which comprises the journey log and the technical log. And all trips that we do and each trip that we fly, all is entered in the log. Takeoffs and landing times, the passengers, the weight of the passengers and baggage, the fuel, and the weight of the aircraft on takeoff, which in our case today was 419,606 pounds. And you'll see me later, I'll put all this in the computer as well, because we do have a computerized log system.
Northwest 353, clear direct, clear to arrival.
Waving away.
Roy 740, contact Chicago Center 132.27.
Chicago 13227, Roy 740, good day.
99, Minneapolis Center on 125.82.
Chicago, Roy 740 Heavy at 310, direct Bryce Canyon.
Right, 740 Heavy, Chicago Center, roger. American 595.
As soon as our Tristar reaches its cruising altitude, the flight attendant starts serving the passengers champagne or orange juice. This will be followed by a meal service. A remarkable feature of the L-1011 is the location of the galley on the lower deck just in front of the wings. The benefits of this arrangement are more space for passengers in the cabin and improved working conditions for the flight attendants, who can now prepare the meals without interruption. This setup also allows for easier and faster servicing on the ground. 2 lifts are used to transport the food and equipment to and from the cabin.
Good morning again. We're cruising at 31,000 feet, just slightly over Mach decimal 84, and we just passed north of Dubuque. And we might want to talk about our instrumentation and flight instruments a bit. Overhead we have the circuit breakers. There's quite a few of them there. And as we work our way down, we have the fire pole handles. We have 3 engines, Rolls-Royce RB211s. And let's see, just to mention that on takeoff they develop 14,600 pounds of thrust. As we come down this panel, this is compass verificator. Our INS switches, we have 2 INSs that we use for primary navigation, and our GPS, which we'll see in a moment as a backup. Anti-skid system, we checked it on the taxi out, which is on. 2 entirely completely different systems. Windshield wiper, the washer, excellent rain repellent. We come up here onto the flight control system. We have our yaw DLC auto spoilers. The DLC, if I could just touch upon it, as we see with the auto spoiler, it's something peculiar to the Lockheed 1011, and I think it was quite a bit ahead of its time. We have 6 spoilers on top of each wing, symmetrical. And the 4 interior spoilers are operated by this DLC. Now, the spoilers, that's exactly what they are. They're aerodynamic spoilers. If we want to go down in a hurry, we have a speed brake lever here, and as we would pull that out, it spoils the lift and enables us to go down quite a bit faster than otherwise. Also on the ground, the spoilers will come up, once again destroying the lift once the aircraft is firmly on the ground. I'm sure maybe you've seen it as a passenger, where the spoilers pop right up, and not only destroying the lift, but also serving as braking. But the interesting part of this, as I mentioned earlier, with this direct lift control system, when we're in the landing configuration and the flaps are more than 33 degrees, which is our landing flap configuration. As it goes through 30 degrees, the direct lift control, the 4 spoilers that I mentioned earlier, will start working so as to maintain a constant attitude of the aircraft on final. We'll see it later when we're landing in Las Vegas. And also possibly we'll see this speed brake lever moving back and forth in conjunction with the DLC. And the nose of the aircraft, of course, just maintains perfectly steady attitude all the way down. Stall warning, auto throttle system, pitch trim and Mach trim controls. Primary flight control system. These are all systems that may be isolated in the event of something untoward happening. Rudder, stabilizer, the ailerons, inboard, outboard, and these spoilers that I mentioned to you earlier also. This is so we can monitor the PA in the back. Mach feel. We have a Mach feel on the airplane with a little indicator up here, which is pretty well a repeater of on the instrument panel down here. Our cockpit voice recorder. Engine start switch, which you may have noticed when we started the engines on the ground in Toronto. Ground start here, and windmill air start if it should ever be required that we restart an engine in the air under certain conditions. We would use the windmill air start. Standby lights. And we'll move up on here. Very important item, the air data sensor heats for the various pitot heats, temperature probes. It's all working in conjunction with the air data computers in the airplane that providing all the various airspeed information, windshield heat, wing anti-ice, engine anti-ice, which we will probably be seeing in our descent going back into Toronto this evening. This is our cabin interphones. We can call down in the every position of the flight attendants in the aircraft, including the lower galley. As you know, the galley or kitchens in the airplane are down below. We have two lifts. We refrain from calling the elevator because we have an elevator on the tail, so we call them the lifts. And our HF radios, we're not using them today because we're in constant VHF contact with air traffic control. However, on our South American flights, naturally our North Atlantic flights, we would be using the HF. Our warning system, maybe Steve could put on the test light for us on the warning system there. So anything that crops up, we do have an interesting warning system on the airplane, and Graham on his flight engineer panel will be able to show you his side. That's fine, Steve, thanks. The exterior lights, emergency lighting, standby power in the event that we lose all our generators. We go into our backup battery power, and it will feed our engine instruments and our standby flight instruments. Compass. Every airplane, we all have our little Christopher Columbus compass here, even the most modern. Interior lights, thunderstorm lights. No smoking is on, of course. In Canada, we're strictly no smoking flight. And we can work our way down onto the panel here. Okay, so here is our clock. I have my VOR nav selector to Des Moines. We have the auto throttle system that we use during our auto land feature on the airplane. Speed selector. And on the flight management panel across here, vertical speed, the altitude that we are armed and locked at 31,000 right now, indicated airspeed, Mach if I wanted to hold the Mach, heading select, and this is the autopilot, number 1, that is on right now. So these are our course selectors set at 258. The navigation system is engaged and connected through the autopilot to our INS computers, and we're cruising at 31,000 feet. So here we have our flight control warning system. Any problem that may arise, we would have a flashing alert, which would indicate to us exactly where the problem would be. The modes in use on the flight control system. Everything is black. What is in operation in white here, the altitude hold that I mentioned earlier, 31,000 feet, is enunciated, and we're in our nav, which I mentioned earlier, reflecting that the nav is engaged. Instrument comparator. Prior to our starting up, we do an instrument comparator check to see they're all within limits. The clock, standard airspeed indicator. We're cruising at decimal 85 right now. Running a few minutes late, but just going to ensure an on-time arrival in Vegas. Artificial horizon. Something we may notice is that the airplane, the Lockheed 1011, cruises about 3.5 degrees, 3 degrees to 3.5 degrees nose up. And this is a design feature. And if you're ever outside of a Lockheed 1011 and looking at the wings and underneath the aircraft, you'll see right where the wings join the body becomes very flat, so that the underside becomes a part of the wing. And they tell me up to 15% of our lift by that body feature, and that in conjunction with that body angle, provide, as I say, up to 15% lift, which is quite interesting. Radio altimeter, altitude 31,000 feet. This is a repeater for our global position system, GPS, compasses, heading 254. This is our mileage off of Des Moines, 117.5. We'll be passing north of Des Moines here. And this is our TCAS system, Traffic Collision Avoidance System, which has been mandatory for some time now. In other words, any other aircraft, we might see one during the course of a flight. Actually, when we get closer to Vegas, we'll see quite a few. And any aircraft within 2,000 feet of our altitude and within 12 nautical miles will pop up here as a target, a blue diamond with a plus or minus reflecting the altitude above or below. And it's standard at these altitudes that the aircraft would be 2,000 feet below us or above us. Instantaneous vertical speed indicator. This is quite interesting. We call it the SPY, the surface position indicator. And if you remember when we were taxiing out in Toronto and doing our flight control checks, and Steve was indicating spoilers, ailerons, outboard, we have the spoilers here, the rudder here that I checked as we went out, stabilizer here, ailerons, and here's this DLC that I was talking about earlier. So on the flight control check, this is extremely important instrument. If we saw anything not, it would be an excellent indication of anything that might not be quite right. It would be reflected right there. So these are our standby instruments that we mentioned earlier. Standby horizon, altimeter, speed, outside air temperature. These are our instruments reflecting pretty well the conditions of the engines. For takeoff, we use the EPR, exhaust pressure ratio gauges, that is calculated, of course, prior to every departure. It's a three-stage compressor turbine engine. We have three engines. The first N1 turbine. The temperatures within the engine themselves, the TGT, gas temperature, the N3, and the fuel flow. So we can see on this particular engine we're burning at 640 pounds per hour, almost just pretty well right on what it should be. The three engines the same. Is it the same? And that is I might say 6,000 pounds per hour. Fuel economy is excellent, but not quite that good. This is the position of the flaps. Maybe when you, on takeoff, you noticed we used flap 10 for takeoff, which is standard. And on landing in Las Vegas, as we call for the various flap in conjunction with the appropriate speeds, you will see the indicator coming down to show exactly what flap we have selected. Landing gear lever, warning light system for the gear, brake pressure, normal and alternate, selected here. Okay, so as we mentioned earlier when we were on the overhead panel, we use two inertial navigation system computers for our primary navigation. So in this case, 0 is our position, and we were cleared direct to Bryce Canyon, Utah, which prior to putting in the latitude and longitudes, number 5 is Bryce Canyon. So when we were cleared direct Bryce Canyon, we selected 0 to 5. We're right on track, proceeding directly to Bryce Canyon. As a backup system to that, we have our GPS. This is our global positioning system here that, as you know, is entirely independent from anything on the ground, really. It takes its information from 24 satellites in orbit and gives us our position within 30 feet anywhere in the world.
we were cleared shortly after takeoff direct to Bryce Canyon, Utah. So this BCE, which is Bryce Canyon, 253 degrees, 857 nautical miles. We'll be there at this speed in 1 hour and 55 minutes. We're right on track, and our ground speed at the moment, 446 nautical miles per hour. It's our weather radar we have on. It's normal in flight. There are a few thunderstorms to the south of us, but directly ahead our track looks excellent. So this wheel is our stabilizer trim, and this is the large horizontal stabilizer in the tail of the airplane, which through the autopilot picks up very minute movements and keeps us in very, very smoothly in constant trim. Pitch disconnect handle, which we use when necessary. The speed brake lever that I covered earlier, also which will come up, you'll see on the landing for the ground spoilers. And Graham, during one of his calls on the landing roll, is spoilers up. We have our 3 engines, our 3 throttles are here. Flap lever, in conjunction with what we were speaking about earlier, indicating the positions here that you will see that on landing in Las Vegas. The same pretty well on Steve's side, the roll disconnect. He also has the same as myself for the stab trim. Fuel and ignition switches, they're on, and this is pretty well when we're starting the engine and providing the fuel as evident to the engine. This is the parking brake, lights for the panel, Vhf Communication System, HF Communication System with the cell call, which I might mention our cell call is Foxtrot Kilo Bravo Juliet, and this is the identification of our airplane Charlie Foxtrot Tango November Kilo. So these are our cell call indicators, and I just might mention that the cell call, we use that if we're on long range, very long range navigation. Let's say we're going to Europe, we're out over the ocean, and the facility that we'll be using, let's say it would be Gander Air Traffic Control or Gander Air Radio, and we would give him these 4 letters, FKBJ, and so he would have these letters. That would permit us to remove our headphones and not necessary to monitor. So should we get a call from, let's say, Ireland or from Gander with a message for us from air traffic control or from company, then these lights will come on and we'll get a ding-dong chime letting us know that air traffic control or the air radio facility has a message for us. Transponder, which indicates to ATC our heading, altitude, speed, and exact position. Every aircraft now flying in any of these routes all have transponders. It's obligatory. Our ADF radios, trim controls, ailerons, rudder. Steve has the same VHF controls on his side. And this is my PA down here when I'm talking to the passengers. So that's basically our pre-flight check, what we do just prior to starting the engines, first when we come into the aircraft. And I'd just like to mention that we're passing north of Lincoln, Nebraska, and we'll be going across Colorado. Unfortunately, I hope the weather cooperates a bit and we can see the Rockies, then through Utah, and then into the southern corner of Nevada, Las Vegas. We'll be landing in Las Vegas about 2 hours and 15 minutes from now, 2:20, depending on the traffic in the Las Vegas area.
Roy 740, contact Minneapolis, Center 135.1. You guys have a good day.
35-1 for Roy 740. Thanks a lot. You as well.
Thanks.
Center, good morning to you. It's Roy 740 Heavy at 310. Chart 2, Bryce Canyon.
Roy 740, Minneapolis Center, roger.
Oh, center, TWA.
Presently about 30 miles to the east of Woolback, just went by Omaha, Nebraska, and we've put a request in for flight level 350 to climb up and maintain a little more fuel efficient burn for the rest of our trip to Las Vegas. Presently showing a ground speed of approximately 500 miles an hour, just a little over 900 kilometers an hour at this time. So we're just waiting for Minneapolis Center to get back to us, and we'll begin our climb up to 350. Bit of a delay right now to get that clearance. I imagine there's a fair amount of cross traffic throughout Minneapolis, and as well with all the center frequencies further west, because we're proceeding to Bryce Canyon. That may cause a little bit of a dilemma for him, but he's just got to go through each one of the centers to verify we can continue to go to direct and make the climb up to 350, because it will take us some time to get there.
Roger. Roy 740 is cleared to 350, leaving 310 at this time.
Roger.
Climb thrust coming up.
Check. Okay, so we set 350 in the altitude window, arm it, and begin our climb. Graham's applied climb thrust, and begin a slow, gradual climb out of 310 using the vertical speed mode on the autopilot system.
Transat 642, maintain flight level 350.
Make the flight level 350, or Transat 642.
As well. Still flying direct to Bryce Canyon and just beginning the climb up to 350.
And what I'm doing here is I'm setting the climb power on the EPR gauges, which are the top gauges there. 580 should do it. That'll take us up to 350. And I've already consulted my charts and figured out the speed setting and the power setting we need when we level off.
Delta 174 Heavy at 330.
Level 174, Minneapolis Center, roger.
System as well has a built-in C-chord chime. As we get within 250 feet of the assigned altitude, it'll go off, and it's an additional alert for us to be aware that we should be leveling off and to keep an eye on the system to make sure it does capture properly.
Center, good afternoon from Roy 740, leaving 32.8 to 350.
Roy 740, Denver Center, roger. United 254, contact Minneapolis Center 134.22.
3422, United 254, good day.
Come on.
Denver, good morning, United 8925 with you, flight level 350.
United 8925, Denver Center, roger.
As we get higher with the L-1011, we also have to reduce the rate of climb on it in order to maintain the Mach. It's very important that we don't drop below about Mach 0.84 to continue our speed for the duration of the flight, or we will have a very difficult time to get it back. 350, we see the altitude light is enunciated. We'll also get a C-chord chime through 250 feet below the assigned altitude. That was it right there. And you're going to see a change in the auto flight control system as we see a capture.
United 8925, contact Denver Center 127.02.
2702 for United 8925, so long.
Come on.
Check capture.
Roger.
And do you have control, Captain?
I have control.
Aircraft calling
Denver's
Center,
actually off to the left there, right?
110, flight level 330.
North 110, roger, flight level 330. Flight 740, contact Denver Center 132.85.
132.85, roger.
So 1461 here, 350.
Denver Center, good morning to you from Roy 740, level 350, going direct Bryce Canyon.
Roy 740, Denver Center,
So we just passed 13 miles northwest of the city of Denver. We're at 35,000 feet now. Right, just coming up on the Rockies. And I believe directly ahead is Aspen or Vail. Just on the one directly ahead and the other on the left. We can't actually see it, but Boulder, Colorado is just right below us now. So we are at the moment 23 miles west of Denver, and at 35 miles, actually just the large mountain just right below us is Mount Evans. And Mount Evans has the distinction of having the highest paved highway in the continental US at 14,264 feet. And on top of Mount Evans is the Meyer-Womble Observatory. So just to give us an update on our flight plan, we took off runway 33 in Toronto. Then, as I mentioned earlier, we flew overhead Flint, Michigan, Dubuque, Des Moines, just slightly north of Denver, Colorado, and we're very shortly coming up on the border between Colorado and Utah in about another 5 minutes. And this present routing will put us pretty well right over the Arches National Park. I would say in about another 5 or 10 minutes. We'll be estimating Las Vegas in 1 hour and 10 minutes. Just a few clouds, 24 degrees Celsius, mid-70s Fahrenheit. Okay, so we're just approaching the Arches National Park. And there's an interesting set of almost cathedral-like structures.
It's hard to get to you after a while, you know.
National Geographic magazine did a wonderful article on this area a few years
I think they
ago.
got most of the stuff done now.
It's very rich in
Be careful, I'm on the mic here.
Indian mythology. And there are a few Indian reserves in this area. I might mention just on the other side of that needle-like pointed object is Moab. The city of Moab is sort of the place where all the bikers that do mountain climbing, etc., from all over the world come and do this mountain climbing up in this area.
Roy 740, contact Salt Lake Center 133.6.
33.6, Roy 740, bye-bye. Salt Lake Center, Roy 740 Heavy at 350, direct Bryce Canyon.
Roy 740, Salt Lake Center, roger. Reduce speed to Mach 0.78, space into Las Vegas.
We want straight back to 78. You all right with that?
Yes.
Okay, we're coming back to decimal 78, Roy 740.
Roy 740, thank you. Salt Lake Gator, sir.
This is Moab, M-O-A-B, Utah.
United 2705, contact Los Angeles Center 135.25.
Some kind of
135.25, United 2705. United 79, contact Salt Lake Center 125.57. 125.57, United 79.
I don't know.
What's that?
It's like a great big crater type hole down here. can find Crow in there for me, please, I'd appreciate it.
Certainly.
So we did just change our heading. We're under radar vectors now into Las Vegas. We were on a heading of 270, then we direct Bryce Canyon, and now we're cleared direct to a place, actually latitude and longitude, called Crow, which is exactly 40 miles on final to the runway 25 right and left pretty well at Vegas. We're proceeding there direct, 23 minutes, 167 nautical miles. We were originally cruising at decimal 84, but because of the traffic in the Las Vegas area, we're back to decimal 78, or the equivalent of 290 knots for right now.
33, descend and maintain flight level 240.
Seems to be my favorite place.
300 for 240.
Check that.
So now once again, we're with LA Center. He's got us slowed back to 250 knots to allow for traffic arrivals into Las Vegas, and we're descending out of 31,000 down to flight level 240. Start.
US Air 601, LA Center 124.2.
Las Vegas, McCarran International. Presently cleared direct Crow, 16 minutes, out of 273 for 240. And this will be radar vectors for the visual, backed up with the ILS on 25 left. They mentioned in the note times this morning that the ILS localizer in 25 left was intermittent, but will be visual, so we'll continue the approach visually.
Check.
But it'll be 111.75, identifies as IRLE, 255 in the window. We'll check for the flags. Altitudes, 15 DME 6500, 10 DME 4800, glide path intercept 3800, bite the path at 3750, and decision height at 2,317 feet. Call me 500 above ground, 100 above decision and decision. In the event of a missed approach, it'll be climbed to the 2800, then a climbing right turn to 6,000, direct to the Boulder VOR and hold, as published.
Traffic 230, hurry through 20, Sun Country 62.
Roy 740, cross Crow at 11,000, altimeter 3002.
Crow at 11,000, 3002, Roy 740.
Leaving 21.7 for 11,000.
Las Vegas approach, it's Roy 740 with you, 11,000, Mike.
Citation 00, Romeo traffic 1 o'clock, 6 miles southeast on FK 28, 7,000, we'll cross track to left.
Later, sir.
Okay, looking best drive on off. Roy 740 heavy, Las Vegas, press maintain 10,000, wind 340 at 19er, straight in 25 left.
That will take that.
10,000, we check 25 left for Roy 740.
Affirmative.
Negative, that is our request, sir.
Check.
Roy 740.
Report airport in sight.
Port in sight.
Airport in sight, we check at 210 knots down to 8,000, Roy 740 heavy.
Roy 740 heavy, do not exceed 210 knots, cleared visual approach on my 25 left.
Cleared the visual approach for 25 left, Roy 740, not above 210 knots.
Southwest 10 knots, report traffic or airport in sight.
All right, we got the aerodrome in sight, we got the L-1011 in sight.
So this is all Lake Mead here. It extends back 115 miles. And the Hoover Dam will just be here on the left-hand side. You can sort of see part of it right now.
That's 640, check.
Transat 642 heavy, roger, do not exceed or maintain 210 knots, cleared visual approach on my 25 left.
Copy, clear for the visual 25 left, 210 knots, Air Transat 640.
Sounds like I land.
Cherokee 3272 Whiskey, Las Vegas.
Cherokee 72 Whiskey is 42 miles to the east, 8,100 inbound McCarran with November.
23.
Cherokee 72 Whiskey, Squawk 4225.
42257.
Cherokee 72 Whiskey.
1010 green min is 176.
And reconfirm Southwest 796 is cleared for the visual.
Take out left 2 miles.
L-1011, correct?
Southwest 796 affirmative.
Thank you, sir.
Southwest 1749 Las Vegas approach, descend and maintain 10,000. Proceed direct to the Las Vegas Vortex, expect a visual. I'll let you know which runway later on.
10,000 direct to Las Vegas Vortex, Southwest 1749.
2222 green min is 157.
US Air 601, I'll have a downwind turn for you in just a moment. There's traffic at about 10 o'clock and 4 miles eastbound, 9,000 descending at Southwest Boeing. I'll have a downwind turn behind you.
Okay. Boeing approach Southwest 1357 past 12,200 for 10,000 field site.
Southwest 1357, roger.
Amtrak 8133, 11,000 November.
We're landing.
US Air 601, turn left heading 190.
6000.
190, 601.
Landing.
Amtrak 8133, Las Vegas approach, maintain 8,000. I'll get back with you.
Annunciators.
8,000, 8133.
Checked.
And checked. Anti-skid is checked. Flaps to go.
Southwest 524, expect a base leg in about, 6 miles or so, you're number 3.
524.
Transat 642 heavy, reduce speed to 170 and give me that as quick as you can, please.
Okay, 170 now, Air Transat 6.
Southwest 796, 170 knots, still 5 DME, you're still clear to visual, 25 left.
We're at 170 knots now, Southwest 796.
Yes, sir, 601, traffic no factor, approach 11904.
Okay, it was 19.4, good day. Approach Skywest 403, 11,000 November and the airport side.
Skywest 403, roger, proceed direct to Las Vegas Vortex. Maintain 11,000, I'll lower for you in a moment.
Direct to the Vortex, 11,000, Skywest 403.
Southwest 1357, expect runway 25 left.
Okay, expect 25 left, Southwest 1357.
Amtrak 8133, reduce speed to 230 knots, maintain 8,000.
Vegas Tower, it's Roy 740 heavy on final for 25 left.
Roy 740 Las Vegas Tower, runway 25 left, good one.
Clear to land, Roy 740 heavy.
Coming on the basis.
Check.
Check. Check visual landing.
Check.
Heavy jet,
500 feet above ground.
runway 25 left, clear to land 13421.
100 above decision.
Full land, runway
Check
25
visual
left,
landing.
Southwest 796.
-5. Check.
100 feet. 50. 30.
Spoilers are up. Three Rivers is operating.
Tower Southwest 524, 9 out for
80 knots. Have it.
7524 Las Vegas Tower traffic 4 final 737 runway 25 left, clear to land 133.018.
Copy, clear to land, Southwest 524, 25 left.
Roy 740 heavy, right turn off of the runway, and contact ground point 1 when you're clear. He'll have further taxi instructions.
Roy 740 heavy.
Check. After landing.
Coming up, 1742, follow company traffic, you'll make a left turn on Golf Holster.
I'll be with you in one moment.
Left on Gulf Holster, Bravo, behind company.
Hey, Grand Amtrak 786.
Amtrak 786, Las Vegas ground.
21 more.
I'm sorry, sir. You might have got stepped on. I didn't hear you clear me to push back. Are we clear?
Amtrak 786, push back your discretion and you have your clearance.
Oh, we're the, this is, main
Yeah, contact ground point 9er. Correct. Okay, southwest,
And I believe it was
96,
Gulf.
follow traffic ahead and make a right turn on Bravo.
Enter at Bravo 5, give way to a United Heavy Jet.
All right, there's Southwest 796. We'll give right on Bravo, and Bravo 5, give way to a United Jet.
Southwest 826, give way to a Heavy Jet ahead, please.
Okay.
That's him giving
Las
way
Vegas
to us.
ground, Southwest 694, ready to taxi.
Southwest 694, Las Vegas ground, roger. Stand by 1 minute, please.
Bravo 6.
Traffic holding for Roy 740.
That's affirmative. That actually, he should be in the right turn. Continental 1946, make the right turn there, follow your company
We'll
traffic.
follow behind him then.
Okay, we'll hold for the traffic ahead of us and then enter in Bravo 6 Golf 1.
And Continental 1946, roger, make a right turn there. Go ahead and make the right turn there and then follow your company.
Roger.
Is that count 1742?
And that's Continental 1742, thanks.
Turn right. We're just coming up on Charlie.
Okay, thanks, and follow your company traffic. And Continental 1942, you're going to follow the Amtrams off your right.
What's the name of the carrier? Oh, it's the L-1011. We see him now.
Thank you.
And Cactus 450, like to taxi.
Cactus 450, Las Vegas, roger. Stand by there 1 minute, please.
Okay, hold.
Air Transat 642, straight ahead on Golf, make a right turn on CR taxi to ramp. Good day.
P133.
Southwest 450, I need you to make a left turn there now. Exit at Bravo 5.
Yeah, we were just on the yellow line. We'll make a left here for behind Southwest Cactus 450.
Thank you.
Ground Skywest 403 is off 1 right.
Skywest 403, Las Vegas ground taxi. Let the Amtrams pass and pass behind that traffic. Enter at Golf 1 to the ramp. Good day.
Okay, after the Amtram, Gulf 1 to the ramp. Good day, Skywest 403.
This is Southwest 694. Continue on Bravo now. Hold short of the Charlie taxiway. We're still waiting for a call back.
The westbound leg of today's trip is completed, and our L-1011 is parked just across from the world-renowned Las Vegas Strip. The aircraft is now being serviced and prepared for its return flight to Toronto. One of the flight engineer's duties during the layover is to do a walk-around and check to make sure the aircraft is serviceable for the next flight. Fueling is done, and Graham signs off as we're ready to start Roy 741.
Ground, it's Roy 741 Heavy, push and start from 7.
Roy 741 Heavy, Las Vegas ground, push your discretion, it is Quebec turn.
We have Quebec, Roy 741.
Below the line, please.
APU.
In mode.
Packs across, please.
They're off.
For start check complete below line.
Okay. Yes, sir. The brakes are released. We are cleared to push.
01 range.
Sounds good to me, Graham. Rotation.
10%.
Fuel on. Light on 1.
%.
Check. Right rudder. Neutral.
Spoiler, aileron, outboard.
Ground Southwest 529, taxi.
Southwest 529, taxi runway 1 right. The Bravo and Charlie.
1 right via Bravo.
Before takeoff.
Before takeoff. Cabin is secure. PA is complete. Continuous ignition is on both. Temp probes are on. Annunciators.
Check.
Number 0, tell Charlie, left turn up Sierra, ground point 9er.
Packs are up, brake temps are normal, landing lights and strobes.
Coming.
Check that before takeoff, check complete, lights to go.
Tower 880 Romeo Juliet's with you on visual for 1 right.
Number 880 Romeo Juliet, Las Vegas Tower, runway 1 right, clear to land, caution heavy departing.
Clear to land 1 right, Romeo Juliet.
Roy 741 heavy, runway 1 right, clip takeoff.
Clear takeoff 1 right, Roy 741 heavy.
Just line you up, Steve.
Roger, check.
You have control.
Have control.
I have the radio.
Stand him up.
And we're stable.
Check. Set max thrust.
Max thrust coming up.
Eighty knots.
Check.
Coming back on number 3, Rich.
V1. Rotate. Positive rate.
Landing gear up.
Roy 741 heavy, contact departure.
Roy 741.
Check in the turn.
Toka.
BS. Lap 4.
Departure, good afternoon from Roy 741 Heavy, out of 3.2.
Roy 741 Heavy departure, radar contact, climb and maintain, 17,000.
Climbing to 17,000, 17,000 for Roy 741.
United 2714, LA Center 124.2.
Check. Climb thrust.
Climb thrust.
Airways alive.
Roy 740 Heavy, proceed direct to Oviedo intersection, then then the Bryce Canyon transition.
Direct to Oviedo, then the Bryce Canyon transition for Roy 741.
Flap up.
Delta 110 heading, Delta 868 Heavy. Delta 868 Heavy, up 07, Delta 868 Heavy, good day.
Los Angeles Turbo Commander Board.
Talking 6767.
Roger, Squawking 6767, we're 20 miles out of one.
I couldn't see anything.
Flight 01, flight maintain, flight level 230.
Check.
Salt Lake Center, it's Roy 741 Heavy. We're leveling at 270, looking for our...
Roy 741, Salt Lake Center, roger.
Hello. May I have a fuel check, please, sir?
You
Which is
certainly
going to be
can, sir.
Meeker. Thank you.
Never, 6 Charlie Sheriff, we're out of 238, E16 Charlie Sheriff, Denver, Roger, climb maintain, flight level 350. American 1979, contact Denver Center, 133.52. 33, 2, American 19.
Right
Thanks a lot, Eric. We'll talk to you later.
we have the same thing behind us, but it's particularly noticeable because of the sun there right now
Yeah.
on that angle.
Bay 36 extension, countering line job now.
I'm the flight engineer and the third crew member on board the Lockheed L-1011, and beside us here you can see the panel that I operate. Basically, I'm a qualified maintenance engineer on the airplane, which means I can release the airplane, and if there's any problems with the airplane, I can diagnose it. I look after the systems of the airplane and monitor the fuel and the electrics, air conditioning and hydraulic systems. And we can have a little closer look at the panel here, and we'll explain a few of the gauges. They look a little impressive, but really it's all laid out in a very logical fashion. All the systems and everything are all close together. Okay, up here we have the fire control center, which tells us if there is an overheat problem or a fire problem in certain parts of the airplane. I can identify it up here, and then we can deal with the problem when we know where it is. Coming down to the left here, we have the hydraulic systems. On this airplane there are 4 hydraulic systems, and this is very well logically laid out to show you how the system actually is on the airplane. We have the 4 reservoirs up here, and they lead down to the engine-driven pumps, which you see here with the lights on. This tells us that all 4 systems are operating, and we can read the pressure on each system down here. If we have any failures of any of these systems, I also have 4 methods of backup, and these are power transfer units here and here, and electrical hydraulic pumps here, which can give us some emergency power if we need them in these 2 systems. We have another method of supplying hydraulic system if in the very unlikely event that we do lose all 4 systems, and I've never heard of that yet on a Lockheed airplane. We have what we call a ram air turbine, which is a small hydraulic pump which is driven by a propeller, and it drops out of the belly of the airplane, and that will give us enough hydraulics for to put the gear down and to operate the flaps for landing and the brakes. Moving across to the next panel, we have the engine, or the environment control system. And what we have here, we have 3 engine sources of pneumatic air, which is shown on these 3 gauges here, which supply 3 air conditioning packs. These 3 packs will either cool the air or warm the air, whichever we need. And as you can imagine, in this airplane, it needs a large volume of air to heat or cool the airplane. What I can do here is control the heat in the cabin with these 3 indicators and dials here, and also in the lower galley and the flight station. And as we move across the panel here, I have positions on this switch and on this gauge where I can tell the temperature of each part of the aircraft. And I can also tell what the duct temperature is going into each particular zone of the aircraft. Above on this panel, we have the pressurization system. The aircraft is maintained, in this case, at a cabin altitude of 5,500 feet, with an 8 pounds difference between the inside of the airplane and the outside of the airplane. And we are flying at flight level 330 right now, which is 33,000 feet. But the pressure in the cabin is always maintained at 5,500 feet. And over here we have a door warning panel, which gives me all the door lights if I have a door open or a cargo door or anything like that open. So that completes the upper half of the panel. Moving down to my lower panel, this is the electrical control panel. And as you see, we have 3 engines, we have 3 generators, and the system is supplying the airplane right down to the 3 main buzzes. The electrics is then taken off of the main buzzes to the circuit breakers that you see above and behind me in the cockpit here, and from there they go to the respective systems. I also have, I'm able to monitor the different parts of the system. This here tells me which generators. I'm selected the number 2 generator right now. It's telling me that I have 400 frequency and 115 volts AC, and the same with number 3 and number 1. And we also have a DC system on the airplane as well as an AC, and these meters tell me what the DC meters are reading. Moving down further, this is the fuel system underneath here, and we have 4 fuel tanks on the aircraft, which are in the wings. We have 2 outboards and 2 inboards, and as you see right now, I'm balancing fuel here. We try and keep the wings as level as possible. Right now we have 46,000 pounds of fuel on board, which is more than enough to get us to Toronto, with more than enough for our legal holding and diversion amounts of fuel. The fuel system is very straightforward. You have the 4 gauges, and they lead through the pumps to the 3 engines. Now we're going to move to the engines further up the panel here, and we have the 3 engines, the 3 engine lines of instruments. Starting at the top here, we have the N2 compressor. That's the 2nd stage compressor RPM, and this is a percentage of RPM. All our RPM gauges on the airplane are percentage of RPM. Underneath we have the engine vibration meters, which if there is a problem with a turbine that's starting to shake a little bit, we'll get a vibration reading on here. As things stand right now, they're all nicely lined up. Going further down, these are the oil quantity gauges. The oil temperature gauges are below. The oil pressure gauges for each engine. And I can tell how much fuel is being used on each engine by the fuel use gauges. As we move across the panel, the next panel that I have here is the APU control. The APU is a little jet engine that we have in the tail of the airplane, and it provides air for air conditioning on the ground and electrics for the aircraft's loads on the ground. That's the only time really that we use the APU, is for comfort on the ground. And that pretty well completes the flight engineer's panel.
Yes, we're 200 miles west of Toronto, and we'll be starting our descent very shortly. The Toronto weather is overcast, -4 degrees. Our routing at the moment, we're proceeding just about direct to Waterloo, Kitchener, Ontario. Then it'll be radar vectors to the airport for landing. We're quite happy to be arriving at this particular moment in time, because there's quite a big storm going to be moving in later on this evening, so we're very happy about that. We'll be starting our descent very shortly.
Okay, well, we're presently cleared to 290 to cross at 90 west of Waterloo. You have control of the aircraft, Rich?
I have control.
I'll give the briefing for Toronto.
Roger.
Planning the profile descent for runway 6 left, 6 right at Toronto. I'm showing a plate of 15 January 97, effective 30 Jan 97. And it states to cross Waterloo 115.0 between 14000 and 12000. Outbound on the 065 degree radial to cross Ricky at 7,000 and 210 knots. Track this radial for radar vectors to the final approach. Anticipating the ILS 6 right at Toronto. Plate date is 25th September 96, effective on 10th of October 96. Emergency safe for 100 nautical miles is 3,900 feet. Emergency safe for 25 mile sector is 3,100. Localizer is India Juliet Sierra on 109.1. Inbound course is 057. And radar vectors for the intercept, and we'll anticipate glide path interception at 3 or above. Crossing the Juliet to be identified 236 on 1 and 2 at 1830, down to a decision of 734. Transition at 180. Standard calls 500 above ground, 100 above decision, and decision on ball landing or go around. In the event of the missed approach, it's going to be climbed to 1100 on 057 track right climbing turn to 090 degree heading, then via 070 degree track to Oshawa NDB at 3,100 feet. 391 is the identifier. Requirements for anti-ice, we will probably need that in the descent as we pass through the cloud layers, and the rest as per SOP standard. Check. Any questions?
I'll call you 500 above ground, 100 above decision and decision.
Roger, check.
No questions.
How many have been in the descent to
Check.
cross 29 at 90?
We're just...
Charlie Fox, Tango, November, Kilo.
239, thank you. Again? Which one? Yeah, actually it's sitting beside me. Let you talk to him.
.3039 inches.
741, maintain 7,000 and cross leaky level, 210 knots.
Okay, maintain 7,000, cross Ricky level at 210 knots for Roy 741.
3039 for the
That is
altimeter?
correct. 17.4 for 7,000.
Check. 17.
Center Canada 792 Heavy is just leveling 240.
Canada 792, good evening.
Okay, present heading mark 1647, thanks sir.
$10,000 for 7,000.
10,000 for 7.
10,000 foot checklist. Reducing speed.
10,000
to
foot
10 knots.
check. Lights.
On.
Seatbelt signs.
Canada 239, you go coming in,
Altimeter.
5.
3038 inches.
3038 inches.
10,000 foot check complete.
Okay, runway 14 is in use.
Charles, Mike Oscar Zulu with you, leveling 6,000. 210.
Roy 741, arrival on 125.4, bye-bye.
125.4, good night, sir.
Right 6 and 1835, over delay 649.
Sure, Cat 639, power now 1835. Cat 639.
Center, good evening from Roy 741, just overhead Ricky at 7,000 feet with the ATIS.
Roy 741 Heavy, direct to Dalpa for 6 left, 3038, and descend to 4,000.
Descent to 4,000, Adalpa for 6 left, Roy's 741.
Yes sir, 166, turn left 300, lower and 5.
300, yes sir, 166.
Roger. Roy 741, I can give you the right side if you'd rather.
Yes, we'd rather, sir.
It'll be the right.
Thank you.
7,000 for
Check.
Arrival, American 1045, level 10,000, excuse me.
Yes sir, 166, turn left to 270, and descend to 3,000. I'm going to keep you in close.
Okay, 27 down to 3,000. 27 on heading down to 3,000. Yes sir, 166.
Thank you, Roy 741, go direct to fail.
Roger, direct to Vale. Roger, Roy 741.
American 1005, if you called, 6 left, 3038, November is current.
3038, 6 left, 1905.
Steve, the ILS tuned and identified.
Okay.
Heavy, cleared visual approach, runway 6 right, tower 1835 at Juliet. Good night.
Good night to you, sir, from Roy 741.
Toronto, did you have further clearance for Georgian 004?
Affirmative.
Nope, just telling you 6 left. I couldn't remember if you checked in or not.
On this heading.
Okay, very good. And we have the field in sight.
Okay, number 2. Or maybe 3.
Wind trend is 101.
Crest capital 296. Let me know if you're going to widen out there to the west at all.
Yes, we'd like to widen out to the west.
No problem. Just let me know when you start back in towards the Tango.
Roger.
Slope is allowed.
Break 1045, descend to 3,000, right 030, and intercept localizer inbound.
3,000, right 030, American 1045, intercept localizer inbound.
Evening arrival, flight craft 102, just leveling 9,000. Flight craft 102, 6 left, altimeter is 3037.
Hey, and any chance to the right side for us?
Doesn't look good right now. I'll let you know when you get closer. 102.
Cleared the visual, descending with the slope. Flat 22.
Regional 1905, descend to 5,000.
5,000, Canadian Mission 1905.
Landing gear down. Landing checklist.
Landing checklist coming up.
Glide slope capture.
Check.
For landing check, continuous ignition is on. Altitude select.
3,100 feet set.
Landing gear.
Down 3 green.
Down 3 green.
Annunciators.
Check.
And checked. Anti
Flat
skid is
33.
checked. Flaps.
33 set. DLC 3333. Vhf 139 alpha mode.
Target 145, just by the Tango.
Check. No flags.
Hydraulics are checked before landing check complete.
Tower, good evening to you from Roy 741 on the right side.
Roy 741, good evening. Clear to land 6 right, wind 100 degrees, 10 knots, departing turboprop. Go into position.
Clear to land, Roy's 741.
Is drift.
Delta 44, 34, 5 to SID, stay with me, wind 100 degrees, 15 knots, go for takeoff 6 right. Go for takeoff 6 right, 44, 34. Wind check 090 degrees, 10 knots.
Approaching 500 feet above ground.
Check. Visual, landing.
Region 1941, contact departure, telling me on a 150 heading, good night.
Over departure for Canadian Regional 1941, come on.
Four degrees drift. Minimum.
Check. Landing.
$100 feet. 50. 30. Spoilers are up. 3 operate.
Toronto Tower, American 1045, we're 4 out, runway 6 right.
1045, number 16 right, caution possible turbulence, land the Tristar, also departing at 767, wind 100 degrees at 10 knots.
80 knots.
Number 110 knots, American
70
1045.
knots. I have it.
You have control.
Roy 741, next left, Delta 3219, good night.
Roy 741, good evening.
Nice job, Steve. After landing.
In progress, sir.
That gate again, Graham, sorry?
Say again?
The gate.
31, I believe.
31, check.
The gate was 34. Sorry.
34, sorry.
Ground, good evening, it's Roy 741. Delta 3 for gate 34. Left turn on Delta, short bump.
Check.
Stab trim 0.
Thank you, sir. Brake temps normal after landing check complete.
34, right after Delta Pod there, Rich.
Yep.
Brake pressure
Apriner
normal,
Canada
going.
646, push gate 76.
And 646, back your discretion.
Air Canada 646.
Apron Air Canada's 630, we're ready to taxi out of the de-icing. 636, right, hold shoulder, Delta Pop. Sort of DP 630.
Holding the brakes, Graham.
Ready for shutdown, sir.
1 and 2, fuel and ignitions off. Fuel flow 0. Normal decays, TGT. Well, I think we had a great flight today on our Lockheed 1011. And on behalf of my colleagues Steve Franzak and Graham Whale and Royal Airlines, I want to thank you very much for coming along. If you're ever on board with us again, please come up and say hello. We'll be waiting for you.